Hello and welcome to SoBricks. I'm Adam and this is SoBricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Lego Wednesday Black Dahlia flower set. This is set number 76784. It has 358 pieces, and I paid $28 for this set. This is a set that released August 1st, 2025. I don't know if I ever saw that this was announced or leaked or anything like that, but I saw it on the shelf and was really interested, not only because of the price per piece looks good. I love botanicals. I really enjoyed some of those like Disney flower pots for Moana and Isabelle from Encanto, I believe. And I was hoping for more stuff like that. I also really liked the Four Gentlemen and different things. And this looked really interesting to me. There's also like Black Dahlia has a true crime kind of connotation as well, and there looked to be some interesting stuff in here. I haven't looked at any Lego Wednesday sets. I also haven't watched the Wednesday show, which I think is a Netflix show, kind of based around the Addams Family or something like that. I never saw that. It seems like it would be in my wheelhouse. I just haven't watched it yet, I suppose, but maybe I'll get around to it. Either way, I haven't looked at any of the sets. Some of them looked interesting. I think this one is the one that looked most interesting to me because it is kind of botanical. And then, it has some mini dolls and I don't know what else is going down here, but it looks pretty cool. It looks like there are some stickers in this set, which most of the botanical collections doesn't have stickers in that same way. So I'm going to have to see how I feel about that I'm pretty sure those are stickers. If they're prints, that would be awesome, but I don't think that's likely. So I'm really excited to look at this, and that's what we're going to do. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Wednesday Black Dahlia flower set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. We start out by building kind of side buildy things, internal details. So this shed kind of greenhouse space has some counter work areas here with some drawers. There's a sink, some floral elements on there, and those will all go inside of the actual kind of structure for the base of this. That is sort of the planter that the Black Dahlia flower will stand up in. This is built similar to those Disney flower pot sets, which I really liked. And so there's like kind of halves here with some internal details. This one is a little bit different scale, or it's just, I guess it's a little bit smaller. Color scheme is way different, but I appreciated it a lot. And then we're working on putting in a bunch of like windows here with a lot of the window frames and window pane elements, including kind of that translucent purple window pane, which I don't know if I've seen that in that color before, but I would like for them to, recolor that in all of the translucent colors. And then we're kind of doing a pseudo dome on the top of this structure here and populating it with the side buildy type things. And then we can start working on the botanical elements. So using some Technic pieces there, axles and different bent connectors in black, add on those purple and blue kind of botanical elements. And then we work on the flower itself with these petals. The larger petals do use stickers. There's 2 different stickers, 5 of each, so 10 of the bigger petals. And then there's a lot of repetition in this, which is characteristic of a lot of these flower builds. So you're building like 8 of one little subassembly and clipping it together, 8 of another. I think that's okay, and it looks really good at the end. So I'm okay with that. And that's everything. So now on to my review for this set. Okay, so that is this Lego Wednesday Black Dahlia flower set. This is really fun, really good. I'm a big fan of this. I didn't know if I would be, and I think this is a good set. So I'm excited to talk about it and share some of this with anybody who might see this. So there's a lot to get into, and we will just get into it. And the first thing to look at is the minifigures, in this case, mini dolls. I don't think there are any Wednesday minifigures, at least not yet. I know for certain properties there are different opinions. You know, with Wicked, maybe it's mini dolls, or they did those bigger kind of buildable ones. And then there's some other sets coming out for Wicked that are minifigures, and I think that's been, you know, something that's been talked about with all sorts of different properties. In this case, in this set, we have mini dolls, which I think is fine. The first one we have is Wednesday Addams themselves, so we can see this. I like what they've done here. This is my first time looking at this. They have a watering can, a pail watering can, I guess is the best term for that. They also have this kind of book cover or a clipboard or something. It has a sticker on it that has a spider, and I couldn't tell if it was or what specifically this was supposed to be. So if you know, leave it in the comments, please. I think that's fine. Little spider on there, so that's good. Looking at the mini doll themselves there, I think the hairpiece is really nice. So have kind of the bangs up front, kind of the braids through the back, sort of a middle part up there. There's nice texture and layering in that, which is very good. I think this is a nice hairpiece. Fits for the character really well as well. So I like to see that. Looking at the minifigure head, the face is printed nicely, kind of has a similar exaggerated style as, well, minifigures do, but slightly different. Like the eyes are a lot bigger on this than they might be on a minifigure, but that is okay. Really like the outfit. Torso print is very good. Just kind of the jacket there or sweatshirt with the drawstrings, and then the black and white striped shirt underneath. There is no midsection for this necessarily. And then we have the skirt piece down there at the bottom. I think these legs and the skirt piece are dual molded. Maybe more. Yeah, I think they're dual molded. The match for the skin tone or kind of flesh tone for this character is quite good. So the kind of shins, knee area, the hands and the face and neck kind of all look consistent, which is really nice to see. Back of the torso, not a ton going on. Maybe like a suggestion of a hood up there that you can just see behind or between the kind of ponytail braid, or not ponytail, but braids back there. And then we have the feet, which have like socks that are printed all the way around, even on like the inside, which is very, very good. So we get all of that. And then the shoes down there with some nice prints. And then they have a special piece for kind of the heels or the thick kind of platforms that Wednesday wears. So that is really nice, makes them a little bit taller there. And that is just one piece all together like that, but it's special. You know, the way that mini dolls work, their legs don't articulate individually from each other, so it's okay, but we can sit this character down, stand them up, and that is fine there. And I'm happy with this overall. And then the other character, the other figure we get is this character here, which is Marilyn Thornhill, I believe. I don't know if that's a character that's specifically created for the show or if they were mentioned or part of any other media that is associated with the Addams family or Wednesday Addams or anything like that. We have some accessories here. We got a little bit of a scissors there. And then we have this, which is like the black flower piece. It's different than the flower stud. It is kind of one stud on the back and then a hollow stud in the middle, but it's just a different piece from, say, this one that I refer to as the flower stud quite often. This is a newer piece by some amount of time. I don't know when the first instances of this were coming up. It's a super useful piece, really like that. And it's just on that piece with the bar and the hollow stud up at the top there. So they're holding a flower that maybe they cut off or something like that. And then looking at this figure, this doll, the hair piece is good. Again, I'm not familiar with the show, so I don't know how accurate of a representation this is. But, have the bangs up here, curly kind of locks going around the face. Back of the hair is fine. And I believe, and I still think this is true, that these hair pieces that are for like friends or for mini dolls or anything like that are also compatible with minifigures, which I think is really, really great. I don't know if either of these hair pieces that are in this set have been used with minifigures. This one maybe, but I don't know. Underneath that, we can see they have the glasses printed on there, and a similar kind of style, but a lot different than Wednesday there. These figures never really have alternate faces or anything like that, just because the head is not or the head shape rather is not symmetrical. And then looking at the torso, they are wearing kind of it almost looks to me like kind of a jumpsuit type thing. I'm not 100% sure if these are supposed to be the same color as the pants, like the top there. It almost looks like it, but this feels a little more matte and this feels a little more glossy. And it's maybe hard to see, but there is some printed detail on here, like a stripe kind of at the bottom, as well as some pockets and buttons and different things. Back of the torso, not a ton going on there. Then we have the legs, and these are printed fine, I think, or maybe molded actually, and dual molded, I want to say. So probably what I'm going to call blue, it might be purple, and then the brown or reddish kind of brown for the or red for the shoes is maybe also molded there. So that is another figure, and those are the two figures that are in this. I think I think the Wednesday Addams figure looks quite good. The Marilyn Thornhill is okay. I don't know if they're particularly accurate. I'm not too critical on mini dolls. I know some people really, really don't like them. I think they're fine and have different use cases and different things. This feels to me like maybe it makes sense to have these characters represented in this format, but that is just me. And then the rest of the set is this flower and kind of vase or holder that has some other elements to it, which does remind me very much of those like Disney, Moana, and Encanto flower pots. And before we dive into the kind of content or like the real stuff we see here, there's some kind of like side buildy things that we look at and we build, kind of before all of this. So I will pop these out of there because they're kind of their own little sub-assembly here. We have kind of a desk area or a table that might be in what seems to be kind of like a greenhouse type thing. And this has a faucet here, as well as like a sink basin, something like that. And then we have some example of a plant over here using the nice use of the, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a trumpet plant or anything, but they use this broom bristles kind of piece for the flower stud up there, and then kind of the fern piece that is on the table. And we just get some alternating colors here, a little bit of gold in there. So this is sort of a work area table, an area maybe to fill the watering can or anything like that. And it's pretty small, only 2 studs this way, but it is nice. And I think it captures sort of what it's supposed to be well. The other thing you build right away is this, I guess I'm calling this like a stool or a seat or a bench or something. It almost looks like it's got this sticker on it that is a sticker, but it's got kind of this woven pattern in there with these different colors, which is fine. I didn't do the best job centering it, but the sticker itself wasn't perfectly cut out on center, so that's part of the reason. It's on one of these interesting pieces that has the like anti-studs on the bottom of a 2x2 and then a jumper kind of up top, but it has these vertical kind of corners going up there. We do put a clear 1x1 tile with the vertical bar kind of in that so we can stud this down, and then this is actually on a 2x2 inverted tile here. So I can't remember what these pieces are specifically for, if they're for a Minecraft thing or something of that sort. I know I've encountered them, but I don't remember where their origin is. So that's another little thing there. And then the last one is this other kind of work table. And it has kind of a drawer looking thing. So it's a table with some drawers indicated by these different jumper plates there. And we have some different stuff kind of popping out, some different colors, different leaf pieces here, flower studs in there. Up here, actually one of those heart tiles as well. So it looks like there's plant life kind of growing out of these drawers there, which I think is a nice effect. Other than that, you know, it's supposed to mirror this in a lot of ways in how it's built, and it is quite similar, but you can see there's some color differences and some structural differences and stuff. We have another plant up here, which has like the clear cylindrical piece for a vase, and that green kind of bent bar piece with the hollow stud, nice leaf there, and the eggshell piece. And then really cool to see the piece, the clip piece in there. I thought maybe we would get duplicates of this, but let me pull this out here because it is a cool piece and I would like for them to do this more often. But it is just this bar element with the clip on there, and it is kind of this pale blue color, kind of pastel-y color, which I don't think I've ever seen that clip piece in that color. I would like for them to be a little bit more willing, the Lego group that is, to be more willing to make pieces like this that are common in maybe black and gray, light gray, dark gray, all of that stuff. Maybe less common in some other colors, but greens and browns, they're probably pretty common in tan. I don't know. White even, I'm not sure, but I would like them to do more pieces like that that are super, super useful in more colors. And then the other thing that's noticeable here is we have a print, which has like a bit of like a caterpillar or a worm or something like that in there. And that is a printed tile, which is nice. It's on clear and the colors on there are quite good. You do get an extra of that, which I'd appreciate. And then we have this kind of display here with another kind of thing. It feels very Beauty and the Beast to me, but you got the clear dome piece kind of for the container. And inside there's a flower stud and a flower piece there. And then we have the clear kind of emerald or crystal piece, diamond piece up top, which I think is really nice as well. So this is pretty cool. You do build these right away, and then after you build those, you build this. So like the Disney ones that I've been mentioning, the flower pots, this has some like play features and display functionality, which I think is great. And this one might be my favorite out of all of them, even though it doesn't use as many pieces or anything like that. There are stickers in here. So besides the one we've already seen for the accessories and stuff, we have the sticker here saying the Nevermore Academy, which is the school that Wednesday attends. And on the other side, we have a quote that says, "The most interesting plants grow in the shade." I think I really like that quote. I don't know what it's from. I don't know if it's originally from a Wednesday Addams thing or if it's from somebody else that is used by some of these characters or anything like that. But I really like that concept. I don't know if it's all a matter of perspective. I could see some people saying that that's not true. I could see other people really expressing that it is true. And I just like kind of the philosophical implications of that. To me, it just is fun and cute, and I like to think like that as well. So very fitting for this. So those are a couple stickers. This is built pretty interestingly. It's smaller than the Moana and Encanto ones there, and there's some good stuff in here. So we build up kind of the bottom layer, and then we do make some hinges here. So or we put together some hinges there. And then the other side, we have a clip. We use the clip piece there that then goes into this like ratchet joint kind of clip piece there. So it creates not a crazy connection, but a solid enough one that is easier to overcome generally than if this was clipped into a bar piece. So I do like when they do that. And we have some kind of stuff going on in here. So you actually don't like build these separately. You kind of start on one side, connect it with the hinge, start, and then kind of work your way up around. So it is cohesive in that way. We use these nice kind of like wrought iron looking fence or kind of detailed curvy sort of railing there, which I like. It's a nice piece. It does allow some light through there, and it's just a nice kind of architectural detail piece. Little pop of color through here, which is appreciated. And then we use these window pane element or window elements. So we get a couple of these curved ones here. So those two stacked up on each corner, and then we also have kind of just regular windows, these smaller kind of window pieces in there. And the thing that I really liked about this is there are two different pane colors. So there is like clear, and these are kind of alternating in a checkered pattern, kind of all the way around here. So like these ones are clear, and then these ones I don't know if they're purple or if they're blue, but they're sort of a translucent kind of color like that feels very fitting for the aesthetic of the flower in this and the Wednesday Addams stuff, and as well as like the box art and everything like that, which is really cool. And I don't know if I've seen these window pane elements in that color. So that is really nice. You build that up. And then we have this kind of botanical garden type pseudo dome roof thing that is open, in many spots, but does have kind of a enclosure sort of roof on there. We use a couple more of those newer black flower pieces in here, which is nice. And then we have kind of this area up at the top. Over on the side, you can see we use some of these key ring pieces here that becomes something else later. Use a couple more inside. We have a couple other details, another kind of plant in here using some good pieces there that gets clipped in on the side. We have another one up here, and then we can populate this. We have space for like figures to stand. There's a couple like studs and jumpers and things of that nature. There's also tiles there, and then this 1x4 with the studs on the outside. So we can stud down like this desk or sink table counter space there, workshop counter over there, and it also makes it like really easy to take that out as its own kind of sub-assembly. So that is appreciated. To not like have this super studded down in there. We can put the kind of other one over here, and the tile came out of the piece there. So let me get that back in. And we can stud this down at the back. I'm not 100% sure what the kind of deal is here with these corner tiles or the different color ones in there besides the tan, like what that's supposed to represent, but that is okay. Maybe it's a crack, maybe it's water, but it's just colored a particular way because of the shadow or the whatever light coming through the different color kind of windows there or something. I don't really know, but have that a little bit there, but there is still space for figures to occupy. We also have some additional clips. So there's one right here and one right here, which are in the same space as like this one there, but over on this side, we don't have one. And those could be used to store you know, the scissors, for example, the watering can, or the watering can could go on a one of these other studs or something like that, or on one of these counters. We could also clip this other kind of plant that Marilyn Thornhill has or had when I was kind of showing those. So there is room for putting the other accessories in there, which is nice. And I think, you know, we should be able to close this with everything. The last thing is what I'm calling like the bench sort of seating thing here. Let me make sure I get them studded down. This we can kind of stud down on one of these jumpers here. I will put the watering can in there. I will put this flower over here. I will put the scissors kind of over in this clip there. And then I will put this maybe in Wednesday's hand or something, just so we can see how this goes together kind of without or with everything in the set. And you know, they look good kind of occupying that. I think the contrast of colors really works for me. I like the colors of the external part of this, that purple or blue, that darker color there, and then all of the black I think is really nice and kind of a change of pace for these kind of things. They are typically very like bright and colorful, and this is a real sort of diversion for that. And we can close that up and we can still see in there a little bit. It almost looks like there's a little, like, you know, plant life kind of visible in there from the top, which is nice. I think it's not immediately obvious that there's mini dolls in here or minifigures in here, or that there's potential for play with this. But it is nice to be able to see kind of like that crystal right through there and some of the other stuff. I think this looks really good and can spin around and doesn't have too many unfriendly angles, if any, which I really appreciate. And it also acts as like a pot or a holder for the flower, which is a black dahlia flower. And that's the next part of the build. So we have this. I think this is gorgeous. Again, I love this color scheme here. And I think they did a really good job with this. It's not huge. It is just one flower, but it is, you know, really, really good. And I appreciate it. And there's some nice kind of stuff with this. For the core of it, we use some Technic because of the color scheme and the kind of stylized nature. Like, I don't think black dahlia flowers have black stems. They may, I don't really know. But we use kind of some Technic pieces here to make the stem and the axle on the bottom, which it kind of bends in nice ways. It leans forward. We got these like dark purple kind of leaf pieces here. Also get some flower studs and these 3-leaf pieces, which you do get an extra of, which are also in kind of that pale blue, same as that clip piece that was in there, which I really, really like. I don't know if I've seen it in the pale blue like that before, or azure, or whatever light color this is. I think it's blue, but I don't know if I've seen that in that color. Maybe I have. It's just not coming to mind right away. So I think that's really nice. And then we build kind of the actual flower bud, or like the flowering bud of this here, which is really awesome. That is where the remaining stickers are used. So all of these petals on the outside, which are the first ones you build on a like steering wheel piece, which is a common piece they've used in botanicals before. We have 10 stickers there for those. So, and they're not identical, so they're kind of alternating here. So this one, you know, not identical to this one. They kind of have that extra little pop of color at the tip of the petal. And then this one is different from this one over here. So some difference there with kind of almost the coloration of these petals for various things, which I think is good. These are assembled using a bunch of those key ring pieces, really 2x2 with kind of the half circle with the hole in it, and then just a clip underneath there. So a bunch of those. We then separate it with just a 2x2 rounded plate in there, and we add on this section, which has these 2x2 tiles that are like curved on one side and flat on the other. Another relatively new piece in the last couple of years, and those get clipped on. So we have 10 of these bigger pedals, then we have 8 of these. Then we do the sub-assemblies up here, which these actually don't use a steering wheel. They use one of those octagonal pieces, kind of the 8-sided bar elements there. And these are really nice as well. They make use of the kind of teeth piece or claw piece in black and a clip, and then this sort of color that is of these kind of corner tiles, rounded corner tiles there. That is one of the satin translucent kind of sparkly sort of colors. I don't know if it's purple or blue or pinkish or whatever. Maybe I've seen that before, maybe not, but it uses these like kind of sparkly newer colors just in I would say like a subtle way, because they're upside down. They're like on the underside of these elements or these little sub-assemblies for these pedals. So they just give it a good pop. When looking from the side, you can see them pretty well. From the top, it's a little bit more difficult, but then we do have the center of it, which does make use of those as well. And it all feels really cohesive. I like how the colors kind of move through this. I'm not mad about the stickers here. And there's something to be said about, they did different stickers, 5 of each. If these pieces were printed, it probably would have made sense to just do 10 of the same print instead of 5 of 2 separate prints, just for cost. And so if I don't know if I do, but if I were to value like the difference between these, maybe stickers is the right thing to go for then, instead of prints. But I'm not sure that this couldn't work if these were all printed and all identical. But that is just me. At least in this instance, we do get some variety in there. This is like pretty good size here, bigger than a lot of the sort of flowers that are in many of like the bouquets and stuff like that, just because it's a wide kind of flower there. It's also like thick or tall this way. I think it looks really, really nice, really, really cool there, and it just feels good. It's heavy, it's pretty top heavy, but not a big deal. And we can put this into the flower pot kind of base there. Now, I'm actually not sure, because I have these characters and all the accessories in there, how well it goes in. And now if I were to hold it like this, gravity's going to spin this around, but it's in there and it feels pretty good. And you could kind of display this with the quote on the side, but it also just doesn't, even the flower itself looks pretty good from a lot of angles, except for maybe like lower and back or something like that. Like if viewed from right here, we would just see the back of this and the underside here, which maybe wouldn't be as good as some of the other viewing angles, but that is in there, and it feels quite nice and is like its own kind of worthy piece of art or model or something to be displayed like on its own, in its own right here, without all of the stuff that's kind of hidden in the base, which is one of the things that I appreciated about the Disney ones. Those could have been like botanical sets, but they had these really elaborately built kind of vases or planters or baskets or containers for the plants to grow in, but then they also offered some kind of play and some different hidden details. I think that this does that as well. These details aren't as hidden because we do have a way in, we do have like gaps. It's not entirely enclosed. Same for these like wrought iron type curved fence gate type pieces there. You can see into it a little bit, and then of course through the windows and through the top, where you do see some of like the browns and the greens and the different things inside there. But I am totally okay with that. And then there's something interesting here, which I have to assume is intended. When the flower is in there, this does not open up, and that is for like a very simple reason. If we look how it goes in, it's just in that kind of keyhole piece right there, so it's a little off-centered, and that is two of these, one on either side, together. So when that comes together and we put something through there, these can't be separated, which I think is really interesting. And then if we were wondering what the keyholes kind of over key ring pieces over here are used for, that is so we can, have this open with the flower there on the side, which I think is really smart. I think that's cool. And I think it's cool that this is sort of a locking thing. One of the complaints I had with the Moana and Encanto one, I don't know about if it was both of them, but I wanted some way to close them together, and I don't know if both of them or if either of them had a clasp kind of mechanism using like a clip like this, but I wanted kind of something maybe more than that, and this does have that. So we actually use the flower to kind of lock that in place, and even with all of the figures and all of the furniture in there, it's not going to be a problem to go in, which I think is really well considered. And I just like the idea that there is this hidden stuff in there, but we can't immediately access it. We actually have to like pull this flower and hold it and everything there to be able to open this to then get access to all or the entirety of what this set contains. So I really, really appreciate that. And I think this is great. I love this a lot. I like this flower very, very much. And maybe I have to give Wednesday a chance. I'll show the extra pieces because you do get some. And like I said, we get an extra of that blue kind of tri-leaf piece there, the scissor piece, kind of that satin translucent purple piece there, and a couple other things. I like the extra of this, extra of the 1x2 curved piece without the stud on it, that tile there, and then we get an extra of that printed piece with kind of the caterpillar or worm there as well, which is very cool to see. And this set is 358 pieces, 2 mini dolls. I paid $28 for this. That is the retail price. I am fine with that. So the price per piece makes sense. Kind of a botanicals collection, so there's a lot of little pieces in here. And that's true. The Moana and Encanto ones had more pieces. They also had like a higher retail price, and then I did buy them on sale when I looked at them, so those actually became like a pretty good deal. I don't know, this might be one. I know not too long ago from a major online retailer, there were some of the Wednesday theme sets on a pretty steep discount. So it could be that this goes on a discount at a certain point. And for like botanical people, even if, this kind of stuff isn't the vibe, I think this is like a nice, cool kind of standout piece, standalone thing to add to like displays of botanical collections and stuff like that. And it could, I don't know, it's just very different from a lot of the other offerings from the botanicals line of sets, while still like in many ways fitting in with those. It may be that this is like maybe more stylized than what they typically go for. I'm not 100% sure, but I really, really like this. I like this stuff a lot too. And so I think less than $30 for this is really good. The Four Gentlemen, kind of the more adult themed kind of stuff, no real play potential. Those botanical sets were all $30. So having this come in with, potentially a lot more here. I mean, depending on who you ask, I think this is a really great price point. Plus there's the IP attached to this. There's Netflix or whoever, who does Wednesday, that I think make this a good deal. And I probably would have expected this to have been closer to the $35-40 mark than what it is. So I think the $28 is a good deal, a good MSRP for this, generally speaking. Would I have liked it to be $25? Sure. $20? Yeah, that'd be great. But like I say, I wouldn't be surprised to find this discounted, maybe not right away because it's only been out for a couple days at the time of recording this, but at some point this might be discounted. And then I think if we're taking 20% off, which is a good kind of general rule for common discounts, then we're looking at $5.60 off. And then we're putting it at, the 22.40 or something. And yeah, I think that's super fair for this, with the intellectual property and the licensing, with the amount of stuff here, play potential, display potential, and maybe some recolors in this. If there are, that's something. And then there is that print that may be in other Wednesday sets. I'm not 100% sure. I would be curious to see some of the other Wednesday sets now that I've looked at this one. I know they're not all super like this, but that is really cool, and I enjoyed this a great deal. So and I think it is a good deal, so that is really great, and I think that's it. So I like it. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including potentially more Lego Wednesday, and then like other new themes like Lego One Piece, and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, old sets, new sets, retired sets, used sets, maybe some alternate builds for different things, and just tons of other Lego videos looking at lots of different sets, including a bunch of the sets that released on August 1st, 2025, and then older sets too, and all sorts of different stuff. So if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing. It does help me a lot, means a lot to me, each and every one of you. Thank you very much. And if you want to support this channel in a different way, you can do that here on YouTube. If you want to give money to the channel, there's membership, supers, and thanks. There's also a Patreon. It's linked in the video description. It's linked on my channel page, patreon.com/SoBricks. So you can check those things out. It is appreciated, and every little bit helps. There's also a Buy Me a Coffee link, and then there'll be some affiliate links. There'll be an affiliate link to buy this set from a major online retailer. But if you use one of those links and then search for something else, like Sharpies or, hand fans, or, just like screws and bolts and hardware and stuff like that, or whatever you might be shopping for through one of those links, I might earn a small percentage as a commission, which doesn't cost you anything extra, no additional cost to you, but just helps the channel a lot. So maybe consider checking those things out, either to buy this set, to buy other Lego sets, other things that I have linked down there specifically, but also if you click one of those things and then search for something you're going to buy anyway, or we're planning to buy anyway from that retailer, I would appreciate it. It helps a lot. So thank you very much. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.